very prestigious scientific journal. And so there's some restrictions around how we might do this. So what we decided to do was release the pilot data, and we're going to get the double-blind study published. But we've been working on this now for 2 years. We've spent $50,000 just in developing the testing methods to do this. Not only that doesn't even include the clinical study costs. So, and that's because there's no place that you can go to test for these things. We had to develop our own methodologies with a scientist and pharmacologist. But anyway, what we claim is that we elevate copper peptide with x39, but that's only part of the story, as it turns out. There are two different molecules involved. One is called GHK, and the other is called GHKCU. So copper peptide is GHKCU, meaning there's a peptide that attaches to copper. But there's another peptide called GHK, which is the precursor. Well, anyway, why is this all important? Well, simply, we did blood tests and urine tests, and we found that X39 is elevating both GHK and GHKCU. And the reason why this is important is because GHK has the ability to reset genes in the body to a younger, healthier state. Oh, wow. Copper peptide has that ability too, but anyway, copper peptide has a whole other set of health benefits. So we were able to do these new studies and look at exactly what happens right after you place on the X39 patch. What happens in the first 24 hours? What happens in the first week? And we see statistically that there are increases in these peptides just within the very first 24 hours, and of course within the first week of use. Now, the other thing, and you'll have to come to the conference to get the rest of this information, because I do want to plug that a little bit. But some of the things that we saw with this were you had people, majority of people were falling in the range of a 40% to 50% increase in this peptide. And this is quite significant.
A very short period of time, right? A very short period of time.
Oh, 24 hours.
Crazy.
24 hours, yeah, to 7 days. And this is significant because what we're doing now is we're correlating this to age reversal. So in other words, we're going to say, well, let's say you're 60 and you get this increase in copper peptide. Now you've got the copper peptide of someone in your 30s, right? So we're looking at correlating those two. But the other thing that was super interesting about this is we had people, you put them in what's called the outlier group, but we had people that were actually getting over 300% increases in copper peptide their very first 7 days. So, these would be people that, they're starting out over the age of 60, and now all of a sudden they've got the copper peptide levels of a 20-year-old. So there's some very important things that distinguish these people from the people that hit the averages. And we're going to be talking about that in Las Vegas.
Well, and sorry, Paul, let me just throw something in. So is this, are you treading upon new turf? Is this a new, what do you want to call it? Has this ever been achieved before? Is this new territory that even the scientists with you working out, well, how do we even measure GHK? I mean, it feels like not too many people have been here before. Is that true?
No one's been here before, Jim. I've had a dialogue with Dr. Lauren Picard, who discovered copper peptide. First thing is I say, this man needs a Nobel Prize. I don't say that lightly. He's been doing this for 45 years. He's set and established the groundbreaking science by discovering copper peptide and dedicating his life to proving why we should be concerned with this and why everybody should be elevating it. But the tool that Dr. Picard lacked was the ability to keep sustained levels of copper peptide, and that's what we have with the X39. I wasn't going to bring this up tonight, and as you know, this is highly confidential, but we just finished a 6-month study of X39, and I'm not going to share the results of that because we're not ready to release that yet. But basically, we are showing results from 6 months of use of X39 that are absolutely extraordinary. So basically, we showed the longer that you use it, the better the results that you get. And I think that's the most I'd want to say about it now. So yes, because the X39 patch has never been available before, the ability to study the biological effects on the human body over a sustained period of time has never been available before, not even to Dr. Picard.
Yeah. David, I'm wondering, because I think a lot of us who are distributors hear from some people that, whoa, the first day they experienced something different with X39, like maybe increased energy. And then for some people, it takes longer, So is there a way to make X39 more efficient by what we eat or how we live or any of that? Or is it just an individual thing because humans are unique?
Yeah, so Paula, that would be the $1 million question, and we are going to talk about that more in Las Vegas. But the short answer to that is there's going to be a very small group of people that, no matter what they do, they may not be able to get the response from X39 that they want. They may have a pre-existing condition like heart disease or diabetes that is going to make the results slower than everyone else, right? You can have people that are malnourished, they have poor diets, they don't exercise, they don't drink water, and they're not going to get the kind of results out of X39, that they might like. So yeah, the short answer to this is that number one, you have to do the basics, right? You have to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. You have to be having a diet rich in nutrients. You should be supplementing where you might be deficient, drinking enough water, avoiding things that we all know are bad for us. And then once you have that foundation, then you can expect to use technology like X39 and get a great result with it.
Great. Good to know.
Yeah.
And is there more that we will learn tonight? I know the big secrets are being saved for Vegas, and I know we want to encourage everybody to be there because we're going to have a great time. But did you want to share anything else before we talk about Vegas?
Yeah, the last thing that I wanted to share this evening had to do with Dr. Chevallier, who's going to be one of our guest speakers in Las Vegas. And he's also been doing some very interesting studies with us over the years. His background is in nuclear fusion research and laser spectroscopy. And he's been in biomedical field, he's been looking at how light affects communication system in the body and how the emission of light from the cells change over time and how this is going to change our health. And for those of you that are interested, you can go to the science section of the website and look at one of the studies that he did for us in that regard. Well, he was very interested in the role that copper peptide plays in cognitive function. So, of course, as we age, we know that most people are going to experience what's called age-related cognitive decline. So the memory begins to fail, the speed of processing begins to fail, people's reaction times begin to get reduced. So why is this all happening? And most importantly, is there anything that we can do about it? So the exciting thing is, again, for anyone over the age of 50, and maybe even people over the age of 40, you don't have to rely on things like coffee for mental alertness, and you don't have to be concerned about and feel resolved to declining mental function. There are many, many things that are available. So this started with us about 10 years ago with our carnosine patch. We did a study with Dr. Tom and Helen Budzinski. Dr. Budzinski, very, very well-known scientist who came out of Skunk Works, did research for the Department of Defense and DARPA. And he did a study on our carnosine patch. We took people over the age of 60, and we found out that within 30 days, we could reverse the age-related effects of brain decline, cognitive decline. So Dr. Chevallier saw this and he said, well, I'm pretty sure that copper peptide would play a role. And so he set about to do a 6-week study, and the results were nothing short of dramatic. And he's going to actually show pictures. I'm not going to show them tonight. You're going to have to come to Las Vegas. That's where we're going to do the revealing of this. But Jim would tell you that when I saw these pictures, they were so dramatic, night and day. Anybody that's untrained could see the change. This is when we added him as a guest speaker. So the bottom line on this is that he'll show these visuals. The changes occur within 3 weeks. They're dramatic, and it's great news for all of us that want to hang on to our mental function as we age.
Yay! Another way you've made me happy tonight, David.
and David, think about it. How many times have we heard, if we've heard it 10 times, we've heard it 100 times, people talk about, gee, I seem to focus better with that. Gee, I seem to be more alert. Gee, I don't seem to have that brain fog. So now, are you saying that we're going to be able to move toward being able to make an actual claim in this arena of brain cognition or function or coherence, this kind of thing? How would you characterize that?
Yeah, part of this is going to be a marketing decision, but, as you and I have discussed, I think that's one thing that's going to come out of this. We've done a pilot study. We had 12 out of 12 people that got this result. We got statistical significance, obviously. And but now we're moving towards a larger study, which will be a double-blind, placebo-controlled study, and we'll want to be making this claim. But the bottom line is that this is really paving the way for new research in how we can augment brain function. Imagine a future where not only can people hold on to their brain function, you have the brain function you did when you were a kid, but even going beyond that, a lot of people would like to have a photographic memory. A lot of people that are athletes, let's say someone's playing baseball, they would be able to have better reaction time where they can, they're a batter, they can hit a really, really fast ball. And if someone that's playing tennis, they can react to where a ball is on the court faster. All of these things now, our research is opening, are within the realm of possibility that we can improve the basic way that the brain functions and give people levels of performance that they couldn't experience before.
So, David, do I understand this correctly? Does this mean that we're all going to be like wine, getting better with time? What I would say is that's an interesting analogy.
The way that I like to think about it is in the world of age reversal. Go back, imagine, knowing what you know today, but being in the body of a 20 or 30-year-old, right? That I think is what we want to achieve. With age comes wisdom, but it also, normally leads to frailty. So imagine what you said is correct. Imagine as we age, we get to keep everything that we learned. We get to learn from all the mistakes we made, but our bodies are intact, and we get to live out our life being young, healthy, vital, and go on working as long as we want and have the best quality of life possible. So that's what I see with this. This is what we see in the lab. This is what we see in our tests, and that's why it's so exciting.